mind eraser switcheroo trap. Easily evaded with the old tinfoil on the head ruse. So, I passed, right?
Even if his application was ultimately unsuccessful, he should feel really proud of himself. He was always a bit of a doofus, but in this episode, he demonstrates that he has some hidden depths.
Flynn's Arcade.
Hello, welcome to Flynn's Arcade. This video is about Pomp and Circuitry, which was written by Jackson Publick and first broadcast on September 19th, 2010, with reference to the art of the Venture Bros. This is another great episode, especially for Hank. Hank and Dean have finally graduated high school.
So, I suppose the only thing I have left to say is...
Congratulations, Hank and Dean.
So Hank applies to join SPHINX.
In God's name do you want?
I want to join up with you guys.
Huh? Well, my boot wants to join up with your ass, and I'm about to throw him a shotgun wedding.
Whilst Dean applies to State University.
Ah, this brings back memories.
Can I take this off yet?
After the interview, they're gonna love your school spirit.
Where he encounters Phantom Limb, who's teamed up with Professor Impossible. Hank exceeded expectations during his SPHINX application process.
I'm ready we can get some goddamn work done around here. Anyone heard from Simpson yet?
And pass. He's a kid.
Whilst his application is ultimately unsuccessful, he really proves himself to Hunter and his crew and the viewer. The return of the creepy photo from Now Museum, Now You Don't.
A work of art. All it needs now is a signature.
The photo wasn't really a plot point in that episode. It just helps illustrate how depressed Professor Impossible had become after Sally had dumped him. However, its inclusion in this episode was a nice callback. The photo itself is a powerful image, and it was nice to see it getting the attention it deserves when it inspires Phantom Limb to reconnect with his former colleague. There's a powerful action sequence when Professor Impossible and Phantom Limb team up to fight off Phineas Phage. I like the comedy of Phage flying off to tattle on Phantom Limb.
Consent! Leave him be!
Phantom Limb? Hey, you can't arch impossible. I'm his... Wait a minute. You're supposed to be in the... I'm gonna tell the guild!
And the latest scene when he's shown tattling on him. Cultural references. Pomp and Circumstance marches, 1901 to 1907. The title of the episode is a reference to the Pomp and Circumstance marches written by British composer Edward Elgar, the title of which came from a line in Othello by William Shakespeare. March number 1 is called Land of Hope and Glory, and it's played by the learning beds when they print off Hank and Dean's high school diplomas. I'm very familiar with this piece of music because it's played every year at the last night of the proms, and it has even been suggested as a potential English national anthem. It was used in 1905 as part of a graduation ceremony at Yale University when Elgar was awarded an honorary doctorate. This started a tradition of it being played at graduation ceremonies across the US, including Hank and Dean's.
Hey!
The Simpsons, 1989 to present.
So, what'd you put down?
Number 1, drifter.
Hank harbours ambitions of becoming a drifter. The concept was discussed in a 1992 episode of The Simpsons where Bart romanticises the idea of being a drifter. The Incredible Hulk, 1978 to 1982.
Fine, then like David the Hulk Banner.
Well, David Banner's real name is actually Dr. David Bruce Banner, so he's a scientist.
Ew, then I don't want to be that.
Hank has ambitions of becoming a Hulk, but he soon decides against it when he realises that he needs a college education to do that. Roman gladiators.
Okay, so that just leaves Secutor? Were you trying to spell executive?
Duh! Secutor is a kind of gladiator. They've got the coolest helmets, and they get to beat up on those Gaylord gladiators with the nets and the tridents.
Ricciarius, my favorite gladiator.
Dune harbours ambitions of becoming a Rotarius gladiator who fought using a net and a trident, whilst Hank dreams of being a secutor who beat up Rotarius gladiators. The Albert Merrill School.
Where'd you recruit this clown anyways? The Albert Merrill School?
The Albert Merrill School ran computer courses and was famous due to a TV advertising campaign that was shown repeatedly in New York in the 1970s and 80s. I watched a couple of these adverts whilst researching this video. They both stated that students would qualify for government support to pay their tuition fees should they be accepted into the school. These adverts were fronted by the famous singer Jimmy Randolph. However, it was proved to be a scam when the school was successfully sued due to admitting people who they knew would not be able to pass their exams. Papal Swiss Guard, 1506 to present day. When Brock fights guerrillas, they are dressed in the uniform of the Papal Swiss Guards, the military unit charged with protecting the Pope and the Apostolic Palace. With 135 members, they are recognised as one of the oldest and smallest armies in the world. Gaëtan Dugas, 1953 to 1984.
Neither of them knows a thing about the real world.
What are you talking about? Those kids have been around the globe more times than Gaëtan Dugas.
Gaëtan Dugas was a Canadian flight attendant. He died of AIDS-related complications and was recorded as Patient O, meaning out of California, in a case study into the AIDS epidemic in the American Journal of Medicine. At some point, this was changed to Patient Zero, and he became widely vilified as a person who brought HIV to the USA, but this was disproved in 2016 via genetic analysis of stored blood samples and by historical detective work. If you're enjoying this video, please could you drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And now on with the video. Howard Hughes, 1905 to 1976.
It's me, Richard. It's Hamilton.
Don't come any further, you're in the germ-free zone!
Like Professor Impossible, Howard Hughes was incredibly successful in his day. He worked as a film producer and then went on to become an important figure in the aviation industry and was recognised as one of the richest and most influential people in the whole world. But also, like Professor Impossible, he developed mental health problems later in life. He suffered from severe OCD, which made him terrified of germs and stored urine in bottles.
Oh, I'd heard you'd lost your mind and stopped working, but it looks like you've been busy.
There is another link between him and Professor Impossible because he became obsessed with the 1968 film Ice Station Zebra, which was a reference to Professor Impossible's debut episode, Ice Station Impossible. Atlantis and Brigadoon.
I've traveled to every continent on the globe, including Atlantis, outer space, and Brigadoon.
Hank has visited two mythical countries, Atlantis, which was first described by the Greek philosopher Plato. Whilst many scholars believe that Plato created this story as a philosophical allegory, its legend as a real place remains to this day. Brigadoon is a 1947 musical written by Alan J. Lerner and Frederick Lowe. The plot features two American tourists who stumble across Brigadoon, a mysterious Scottish village that appears for only one day every 100 years. Happy Days, 1974 to 1984.
Sorry, it's an old habit.
Get Chachi here, shoot it up!
Happy Days showed up in my last video where I discussed the incident when Fonzie jumped the shark. This scene is a reference to Fonzie's younger cousin, Chachi. Take Back the Night rally.
There must be one of those Take Back the Night rallies. Great place to meet chicks, by the way.
Take Back the Night is an international event and non-profit organisation with the mission of ending sexual relationship and domestic violence in all forms. It started in the US in the 1970s and remains active to this day. It's a serious event where people raise awareness about violence against women and girls, but Duck's Adventure is a cuttlefish, so he saw these rallies as a great place to pick up women. But being Duck's Adventure, I highly doubt he was successful. Vidal Sassoon, CBE, 1928 to 2012.
Well, as long as we're going all 1989 with it, how about a nice high-top fade, like Kid and or Play?
Hey, knock it off, Vidal.
Right in the back.
Hunter's joke about surely you've cutting Hank's hair is a reference to Vidal Sassoon, a British hairstylist and businessman. He grew up in abject poverty, but went on to become an innovator in his industry, and the looks he created were internationally acclaimed. I once had my hair cut by a student at the Vidal Sassoon Academy in London, and I had the honour of meeting him briefly when he visited the art gallery where I used to work. Dune, 1984. Dune was directed by David Lynch and was based on a book of the same name by Frank Herbert. Hank can be seen training with a robot resembling the fighter robot from Dune. Samson and Lenny Kravitz, 1964 to present.
Yeah, I feel like that Jewish guy who lost all his powers when they cut his hair off.
Samson?
Lenny Kravitz? It's not all about you, you know.
Brock is named after the biblical strongman Samson, who lost his strength after his wife Delilah cut off his hair. Brock also lost his strength after cutting off his iconic blonde mullet to disguise a shark, which he went on to use as a decoy. But Hank wasn't talking about Samson or Brock. He was referencing the rock musician Lenny Kravitz, who was famed for his long dreadlocks, whose musical style became more pop-oriented after he cut his hair short. The Walt Disney Concert Hall. The Walt Disney Concert Hall was designed by architect Frank Gehry and opened in 2003. Because Roy Brisby is both an ex-spy of Walt Disney and a benefactor of State University, it's unsurprising that the design of the Impossible Science Centre, where Phantom Limb has an intense battle with the various guild operatives, looks a lot like the Walt Disney Concert Hall in LA. Jokes! I always enjoy seeing Phantom Limb's squad of Lady Nightshade, Chuck and Wisdom.
You know the drill. Got batshit crazy, sad.
You're lucky you weren't on duty when he had his conjugal visit with a freaking shoe.
Who are now joined by his arm and leg, Armando and Lieutenant Shankly. Last time he attacked the Council of 13, he had an epic battle with Dragoon and Red Mantle.
I can't just sit here. I'm coming to help. Oh, hello. Well, that didn't work out.
But this time he took revenge by laying a cable in a chamber sub rosa.
Days with T's, the wizard in my screen. On all others, we're in Dragoon.
Yes, I like this.
Gentlemen, it seems there is another movement on the floor.
I heard nothing.
And it is a doozy.
Hunter's reaction to the SPHINX guy giving Hank a standing ovation is a good one.
You know, if that's not the resume of a top-notch, super killer secret agent, then I don't know what is.
All right, you win, kid.
Dean's awkward interview gets off to a poor start due to his confusion about the university dean's title.
Yes, I see your confusion. But no, I'm afraid it's my title, not my name.
Professor Impossible's awful speech.
That's pretty much when she walked out on me for good this time.
Being interrupted by Phantom Limb, legging it away from the Diamond Dogs.
Richard! Stop glad handing and helping, damn you!
And Professor Impossible's attempts at distracting the audience from Phantom Limb's fight with the Guild.
That must be the fireworks I arranged over there.
Character development.
TV Volume 6 on Blu-ray and DVD, June 7th. Thank you.
Yes, let's hear it for Roy Brisby.
The investors, as General Consolidated Insurance, make their first appearance as university benefactors, along with Roy Brisby. State University has also received funding from Impossible Industries and Jonas Venture Sr., who are all really sinister, so I think Dean had a lucky escape by not being accepted. After his abusive behaviour towards Sally during their marriage and his annoying and pathetic behaviour after she left him for JJ, I thought he was beyond redemption, but now he's taken up with gentleman thief Phantom Limb and he's getting his life back on track. I'm starting to feel a bit more kindly towards him. Hanks demonstrated some serious talent during his SPHINX exam.
Old mind eraser's switcheroo trap. Easily evaded with the old tinfoil on the head ruse. So, I passed, right?
Even if his application was ultimately unsuccessful, he should feel really proud of himself. He was always a bit of a doofus, but in this episode, he demonstrates that he has some hidden depths. I'm seriously considering making a long video about the times Hank has been amazing, yet unappreciated by those around him. Rating. In the art book, Jackson says that he doesn't think Pomp and Circuitry is one of the better episodes of season 4, but I disagree. I like this one a lot more than some of the earlier episodes in this season. I enjoyed watching Phantom Limb and Professor Impossible's antics in New York and at State University, and I'm a fan of Phantom Limb's relationship with kitchen utensils and a shoe. My only criticism, if you can call it that, is that my main takeaway from this episode is the storyline about Hank's SPHINX application. And before sitting down to make this video, I've forgotten that the storyline with the aforementioned villains had taken place in this episode. I also think that this one is overshadowed somewhat by the previous episode, The Diving Bell and the Butter Glider, and the next episodes, Any Which Way But Zeus, which are both exceptionally good. So with all this in mind, I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. So let me know what you think. Did you think the storyline with Hank overshadowed the other events of this episode? Are you starting to feel more kindly to Professor Impossible now that he's hanging out with Phantom Limb? If you don't know what to write, please drop an ignore me, a sphinx or a spanakopter or a brick frog, because comments really help with the algorithm. If you've been following my series about Venture Bros episodes, you might have noticed that I've switched the format slightly in this video. I noticed in the comments section of my previous videos that the most popular part of them is the cultural references section, so I decided to put more time into that. I added a new section, Iconic Moments, where I spoke about a couple of the most powerful parts of the episodes at the start of the video. I felt that the style section of my previous videos was becoming too bloated, so I've removed it entirely for this one. But I have plans to bring it back should I think that the episode requires it. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop me a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've made loads of videos about the Venture Bros which you might enjoy. Hello to any newcomers and welcome back to all my subscribers. Thank you so much to my channel members, you guys are awesome. I'm going to give you a shout out in the video's end screen, so please stick around for that. And check out my members monthly update video. I have 2 levels of membership, the Guild of Calamitous Intent and the Peril Partnership, so please consider signing up for membership because it really helps the channel. Add me on Instagram, add me on Blue Sky, the link is in my bio. So that's all from me, I upload videos every weekend, so unless anything comes up before then, I'll see you next time.